According to Section 1-2 of Pueblo's city charter, since we are a home rule city, Section 1-2 in the 1954 city charter, which establishes Pueblo as its own municipality. God, it's such a stupid word. Its own sovereign nation, city-state. So the city-state of Pueblo, the form of government shall be the municipal. Let me just read it, okay? The municipal government provided by this charter shall be known as the council manager government and shall not be changed except by charter convention upon majority vote of the qualified voters. How do you determine who the qualified voters are? Nonetheless, only a majority vote at a charter convention can change Pueblo's council manager government, and pursuant to its provisions and subject only to the limitations imposed by the state constitution and by this charter, all powers of the city shall be vested in an elective council. So, you have some asshole, some fucking jackass is pushing for an amendment on the ballot in Pueblo to turn Pueblo into a strong mayor system. Now, the reason why that is stupid, okay, it's stupid and it's illegal according to the charter. The only way you could do that is by a charter convention. And you got to get the majority vote of the so-called qualified voters. So, in order to get a strong mayor system, which this guy wants, he would have to get a charter convention. You cannot do it by amendment, so therefore that amendment would just be flat out illegal on its face. On its face. You cannot implement that amendment without having a charter convention. So I hope they don't put it on the ballot, because that would be, that would make the entire fucking election sort of, it would taint the entire election. So, it's against the charter, so it's illegal. It can't even be done. So if it's elected, that would be, you'd have to do a fucking, charter convention. It would force a charter convention to be held just so it could be upheld by the charter of Pueblo. Now, the reason why it's stupid is because we have a council manager government. The proponents of a strong mayor system want a strong mayor, right? They want a strong executive branch. They want a dictator. They want somebody to be elected and they're in charge and they can do as the fuck as they please, right? They were elected there for good things, to get health care, to fix the streets, to provide water and services and maybe goods to the people. So they were there for a purpose, to fight for the people. And they go into the government. The way our council manager government works is a strong manager system. And so therefore, we have a city council that's elected. There is a president of the city council, which I think is the mayor. I think that's okay, actually. The chair, the only thing that the president of the city council gets to do is they get to chair the meeting, which means they get to set the agenda and they get to dictate the flow of how that meeting goes throughout the entire city council meeting. So that gives the chair, they get to dictate the entire fucking conversation from start to finish. So absolutely, the president of the city council is the mayor, but that is the head of government. That is the head of state. There's a difference between a head of government and a head of state. The head of state is ceremonial. Okay, so that means the president, which is Steve Rocky here in Pueblo, which he, to his credit, got, we're going to go green 100% by 2035. In 18 years, the city of Pueblo isn't going to use any more fossil fuels in order to get their electricity. Only wind and solar and, some sort of battery, probably, based system. That would make the most sense. So Steve Rocky would be the mayor, but the city manager is Sam Azad. Azad. A-Z-A-D. So Sam Azad is the city manager. So if you were wanting a strong mayor system, so we have some sort of badass that has all the fucking power and can, kick ass and take names, kick all the bad police out, make sure the prisons don't have any strange bodies just popping up dead, to clear out all the debris if there's a bunch of limbs off of trees that fall down because of a April 29th snowstorm. So if you want a strong mayor system, if you desire to have that elected person to be a strong... Well, we have that. It's Sam Azad. Sam Azad is your strong fucking mayor. He's the strong city manager. He's the head of government. Whatever the fuck Sam Azad says goes in Pueblo. He's the fucking man. He is the fucking man. And that's the city council's power. So the city manager form of government, which is what they thought in 1954 was the best form of government, here in the city of Pueblo, Colorado, was, the council manager government, and that has a strong manager. The powers that is vested in the city council is that we make sure Sam Azad does as the fuck as he's supposed to be doing. And the city council dictates that policy. Sam Azad goes with what he wants to make the city council happy. And if he is not able to make the city council happy, then the city council's power is to kick him out and then to replace him with somebody else. So essentially, we're not voting for the man that's in power. We vote for the people that's going to vote for the man in power. So, and I wonder if it might be by unanimous. It'll say how, you choose a city manager in the charter. So I'll get to it eventually. But the city council chooses the city manager. And then every, basically day, it should be like every year you get a 1-year contract. But every day he is analyzed and reanalyzed, and if he becomes the threshold of, he starts to suck a little bit, but mostly good, but if the threshold becomes he sucks, then that's the time that city council needs to vote him out, and then they replace him. And so it's very much like a superintendent and the school board. So the school board is elected by the people, but once the school board is in place, then they decide the superintendent. If they don't like the superintendent, they chuck him out, and then they get a new superintendent. So you have all these applicants, all these people like, hey, I'm a good superintendent, and you're going to have the same shit with the city manager. There's pros and cons to it. A big pro is that it's nonpartisan. So you get all these partisans, but they have to choose somebody. They have to agree on somebody who's going to lead, the entire city forward. So traditionally, it's a nonpartisan person. It's basically just a person that is, good, thoughtful, good character, can get the job done, is strong, and can implement the policies that the city council, thinks of. The policies of the city council that they enforce, and it's through Sam Azad. So I suspect that I'm not for sure exactly what the fuck is going on here in Pueblo City and Pueblo County. They have a jail, but the shoplifters we can't send to the county jail because the county sheriff controls it. But we have an entire police force. There's a county police force and a city police force. We have county commissioners and we have city councilmen. We have a lot of redundant services, a lot of redundant positions in city and the county of Pueblo because we don't just have a state government and federal government, but we got a county government and a city government too. And the county is an administrative unit of the state. They do not have home rule, but the city has home rule. With the marijuana tax issue, they got 85% of the marijuana taxes is going into the city of Pueblo. But it was the commissioners who actually offered the scholarships at the University of Pueblo. Everybody, they got like a shit ton of people got $1,000 scholarship, which came from the marijuana taxes. So I know the county commissioners are using that money a lot better. I'm not for sure what they're doing with their 85%, but that 85% had told me that basically that the city of Pueblo has 85% of the power. Now, that could be wrong. That was a rule of thumb. I didn't do a big investigative analysis in between the two jurisdictions. But ultimately, what I want to say is that I knew I had read this before. Section 1.2, so it was real quick. If you say, you know what? There's something in that city charter. I got to the title page. I ran through the table of contents, So, officials of the city of Pueblo. Charter for the city of Pueblo adopted April 6, 1954, amended a bunch of times in 59, 61, 63, 67, 69, and then 99, 2004, 2005, 2008, and 2016. So it hadn't been amended for 8 years, but it got amended last year. I wonder what that change was. Because if they're even for a moment suspecting that they're allowed to take the that amendment to give it a strong mayor fucking system, change the entire fucking government away from a city manager position into a strong mayor position, it's just fucking semantics. It's just fucking semantics. If there is a person that you want to lead the fucking city, then you wait for after the city elections. You get people that would be open and warm to the idea of electing you. You know, out of all the right now, you only have Charlotte Perez. So you would have to go up to Charlotte Perez and be like, hey, you're going to be electing the city manager. Consider me. Here's my application. And get, you know, your influence out there. Try to get as many pro yourself people, you know, from the city council and put the resume in front of them. When they get elected, when they have their meeting, then they kick out the city council and then they elect you. So if you want to be the mayor, if you want to be the strong fucking mayor that controls, you know, every facet of the city. So my guess is that Sam Azad doesn't know his power. He doesn't know he's the fucking Fuhrer. He's the dictator. He could kick the fucking county commissioners out. He can kick federal agents out. Now, it would be a dicey situation with the state, but that's the whole point of a home rule. We are autonomous. Now, it's through the Constitution, so the Constitution will dictate what specific powers the city has, you know, over the state. But essentially, we run our own shit here. We take care of our own here. Pueblo is its own autonomous, and that's the way it fucking should be. That's local home rule. That's empowerment. What happened in 1954 was absolute fucking revolutionary, and we should protect the city charter. The city charter is, you know, it's just as important as the U.S. Constitution and the Colorado Constitution. And then that's how all the body of law, everything that goes on here in the city of Pueblo, it comes from the city charter, combined with the state constitution, combined with the American Constitution. And then we dictate from that basis, from that framework, we construct an entire fucking society, right? The healthcare, the education, the water, the hospitals, the roads, the internet, the highways, the cars, the red light cameras, the older people, the sick people, the drug problems, the criminal problems, the jail issues, everything. Anything and everything. The fucking goat heads. What is up with these fucking goat heads? They can stay dormant for 10 years underneath the ground. I see them all over this fucking parking lot here, which the church has. And the church is, I don't know if they're being as vigilant as I'm going to be. I have not been able to dig up my ground. There's a lot of rock and sand and rock. So that's what I got to deal with. But I have a small enough yard that I can pick out every single vine, puncture vines. These goat heads, I swear to God, these fucking goat heads are taking over this city. They've taken over other cities. They've taken over Albuquerque in New Mexico. They've overtaken a lot of cities. They make my fucking existence here in Pueblo fucking miserable. And I love Pueblo. I love Pueblo. Freedom is legalized here. And, you know, it's good stuff. Pueblo's cool. But these fucking goat heads, everywhere I walk, I gotta, you know, I'm always picking them out of my feet, even if I'm inside my house. They take over my shoes, little stuff, they get stuck in there. They do break through the soles. I see lots of animals, cats and dogs who have to pick it out of their paws. You know, and that's how they get spread. It gets stuck in, you know, your hands or your feet, and then you spread it. So you're the one that spreads it all over the place. It's a foreign plant. It's not indigenous to this country, but they're taking over. It's a fucking parasite. We need to eradicate these goat heads. We need to wipe out the fucking puncture vines. Fuck these puncture vines. I'm being deadly serious about that. I've been trying to work on the video, but I have been feeling a little under the weather there, you know, world. But there's a lot of issues that the city of Pueblo has to take care of that's very personal to it. The puncture vines, the goat heads, they can grow in very desert, arid fucking weather. They're tight little thorn seeds, like little burrs. I got a whole foot full when I walked outside in my barefoot, you know, because I didn't know about the shit. A whole fucking foot full, and I was able to pick most of them out. But I know that there was a couple. It's like splinters, so actually can get little splinters in your skin from it, which can get infected. And I took my bike just right out here. Not 5 feet from my house, and it got 5 or 6 of those stuck in the bike tire. And, you know, I rode around for maybe an hour, but then eventually my tire went flat. So, that's these fucking goat heads are invading. They're a foreign fucking species. They're a fucking plant. There's no benefits to them whatsoever. They destroy bike tires and feet and paws and their burrs and their stickers and the puncture vines, you know. So they're 10 years dormant. Even if we were to get rid of them all, you know, this year, next 9 years, we'd still have to fucking worry about it. So their longevity, they'll be able to stick around for a really long ass time. And like I said, there's no fucking benefits whatsoever. Destroying tires and people's feet and the soles of shoes and, you know, so they're a biker's probably worst nightmare. That sucks always. I mean, to have a flat with your bike should be able to, you know, you should be able to ride your fucking bike for months. All you have to do is worry about pumping the tire up, not changing the whole damn thing. You have to figure out the entire engineering. You got to be a bike engineer just to ride your bike around here in Pueblo. Alright. So, I've talked enough about these goddamn goat heads, but fuck these goat heads, and I'm being serious about that. And watch out for the rhetoric. The rhetoric is a little dangerous. But you could, you know, compare and contrast. If you ever see a genocidal maniac coming up, the way I talk about these fucking goat heads, because they do need to be eradicated, there needs to be a final solution to these goddamn goat heads. We've got to wipe out every single fucking goat head. Get them out of here. This needs to be a big city effort. This city needs to be educated. The people need to be paying attention. They need to be vigilant on their own lawns and on their neighbors' lawns and on sidewalks and all bare, you know, people might say that my lawn is messy because I've let all the weeds grow up, but I'm doing that intentionally. In fact, it bothers me a lot, and actually I get to see the different weeds that were able to grow, and I actually got excited because some of the neighbors' flowers, I got about a dozen of them that have already been growing. They're about that big. So now I get to water those, and then I get those flowers, which is what we need to do, right? To spread more flowers and kick out the weeds. So what I have been doing is letting the weeds grow up, because if the weeds are growing up, then that gives no place for these goat heads to grow. So I think that I would rather see a field of fucking weeds right now because of this goat head epidemic. They are a disease. They are a cancer. They need to be cut out. They're a cyst. They're like white supremacists. They're a cancer that needs to be cut out and fucking removed. And fuck these goat heads. Fuck these goat heads. So I let the weeds grow up, and so we should look at barren land as a bad thing. Anytime you see goat heads, we should be picking them out. We need to get rid of them. I don't know if we have a good sewer storm drain or what the fuck is going on, but there is just like sidewalk is just filled with goat heads. And so nobody would want to walk there, you know. You'd have to be picking them out, you know. You have to basically slide your feet back and forth on the ground or your shoes and wear boots. Wear thick-soled boots, because if you're not wearing, you can't go fucking barefoot. Don't even think about walking barefoot in Pueblo. Pueblo's a cool fucking little city. It's like a little secret, to be honest with you. It's like got a small town feel, and it's a city. It's got all the things, you know. You got your mattress stores and your Red Lobsters and your Applebee's and your, you know, fucking whatever middle class Targets, right? I don't know. Yeah, your fancy high end places, right? Your PF Chang's and it's got everything like that. So, and more, a lot more. Basically, when I drive through the business district, most of the things are like specific specialty offices. So I don't even really give them much of a look. But, you know, 100,000, it's small, 2 hours away from Denver. We got an airport. We got a fucking airport here. And so you can fly to Denver, and then you can fly over the entire fucking world. So we have international access. You know, it'd be, have a home, get a taxi, go to the airport, go to Denver, go throughout the entire world. 2 hours from Denver if you want to drive. 1 hour from Colorado Springs. And then there's a lot of rural areas all around here, too. A lot of cheap land, too. And, of course, freedom. Did I mention freedom was legalized here? Anyways, so I want a strong dictator to do something about this fucking goat head situation. When you can educate the public, you can shame people, you can say, this is what's going on, get people paying attention to this shit, so that way, collectively, if we're all paying attention to this, you're taking care of your own lawns, and everybody's looking out for this, and everybody's paying attention to it, because this is, I don't know how big of a fucking epidemic or a problem it is. I don't know if I'm the first person to say this, but I do feel like it's a huge fucking ordeal. If it's not, it's been a horrible ordeal here for me. I mean, every time I walk out and come back in, there's always, little pieces everywhere. And it's almost giving me nightmares, I just have the attack of the goat heads. And the reason they're called goat heads is because if you look at them like really microscopically close, they kind of resemble the head of a goat. Their thorns or their horns, and I don't know. I don't particularly see it, but that's the nickname. The puncture vine is like the English specific, but there is like Tiberius gracchus. There is a genus species name to it, so they have a specific name, but goat heads is all I know them as. So the city of Pueblo put out the city charter, which has been amended by all the times. You have the Robert Schilling, Chris Nickel, Lori Winter, Stephen Nolrocky, Ed Brown, Lawrence Atencio, and Ray Aguilera. These are the 7 city council people who were running this city at one time, and they offered this city charter here. The city attorney is Dan Kagovsek, city clerk Gina Caprita Dutcher, city manager Sam Azad. So, this either had to be soon, or it had to been after November 8th, 2016. So this is up to date. Alright. So that's what's going on right now. Then there's a table of contents. Then after I go down the table of contents, the Article 1 is you have the preamble. We, the people of Pueblo, under the authority of the Constitution of the State of Colorado, do ordain and establish for our municipal government the charter. Article 1, General Provision, Section 1.1, Name Boundaries. The municipal corporation heretofore existing as a city of the first class in Pueblo County, State of Colorado, known as Pueblo, shall remain and continue a body politic and cooperate under this charter with the same name and boundaries until changed in a manner authorized by law. That's Section 1.1. Okay, I like it. It's kind of a run-on sentence, but that's okay. Section 1.2. The form of government. The municipal government provided by this charter shall be known as the council manager government and shall not be changed except by a charter convention, not a constitutional convention, but a charter convention, upon the majority vote of the qualified voters, and then pursuant to its provisions and subject only to the limitations imposed by the state constitution and by this charter, all powers of the city shall be vested in an elective council. So the council is elected, then they choose the city manager. That's how Pueblo has been doing things for the last, 46 years? 46 plus 17, 63 years. For 63 years, Pueblo has been running under this charter, which says only a council manager government is the only government that we can have. That's it. Unless you get a charter convention with the majority vote of the qualified voters, but not by amendment, not by doing what that fucking lawyer is just trying to do so he can line his own pockets, right? Hey, I changed the entire government of Pueblo. Now you've got to ask me, what the fuck did I just do? Well, you passed an amendment which goes against the charter, which makes it illegal, and therefore I don't want to say it's null and void, because if the people voted for it, then that means maybe this city council has not told its city manager to be the strong mayor, to be the strong fucking draconian Fuhrer that the city needs for whatever specific, demand that people have. He is the fucking man. He's got 200 police underneath him, 220 or so, and the firefighters. All the fucking city government is through Sam Azad. They have the power of the purse, the city council does. So Samizad is the only limitation that I think Samizad would have is the judicial system. And then renegade cops. If there's any rogue police, they may do something and then just get the entire establishment to cover their ass. So the police branch and the judicial branch, the prosecutors and the judges and the circuit district and the state's attorney, the DA and the county attorney and the city attorney, right? A lot of attorneys, and lots of judges, and what kind of tribunals are they running? What the fuck? They throw people in jail over shit? So, hey, I saw you do something illegal. I'm filing criminal or civil charges, and I'm going to get rich and or see you and your reputation go down. Criminal charges are fucking heinous. The state of Colorado saw you jaywalk. The whole fucking state. So, section 1-2, right there, right on its fucking face. I didn't even have to go, to section 1-3, the powers. Where they mention where the powers are. But it says, by the name of Pueblo, the city shall have perpetual succession and shall have all the powers granted to municipal corporations and to cities by the Constitution and general laws of the state, together with all the implied powers granted. All the implied powers. So, for the general welfare of the citizens of Pueblo, for the good of the city, for the general welfare, hell, throw a fucking supremacy clause in there, right? Eminent domain, they could take over property and land and water and whatever, put a path, right? Need a pipeline. Here's a pipeline right through the heart of the city. Here's a big piece of art, solar trees. Why don't we have more solar trees? I see all these dumb fucking art pieces. Solar tree is useful. Using technology, solar power, to be able to, charge your smartphones and or laptops. Come on now. So, yeah. I had to smash that whole strong mayor thing because it puts actually the city in chaos. If you get an amendment that changes the Constitution, but the Constitution says you weren't allowed to do it, but since you changed the Constitution, you have to change the fucking Constitution completely. You gotta change the charter. And the only way you can change the charter is with the Charter Convention. Unless you pull some shit and just get the city council to vote for it or something. You'd have to get the fucking city council to vote for it and the city manager to agree to it. But I guess if it's coming up with a whole new charter, that's what he's saying. Let's get a whole new fucking system of government. And being that Americans are conservative, I just don't see all of Pueblo just giving all the powers up that, the city of Pueblo has had for the last 63 years. Right? And then what I said, 63. 1943, 67 plus 7, so it's 64. Yeah. Since 1954, 46 plus 17 is 63. So for the last 63 years, Pueblo's been running on a city charter under a council city manager form. So we've had a strong city manager. You want a strong mayor? Why? We got a strong city manager fucking system. And if it's something else, then maybe a midlife crisis, maybe just buy yourself a Corvette or something. Go skiing. I don't know. Do some fucking heroin. Try something crazy, right? Do something crazy. But don't change the whole system of government. If you're going to change the whole system of government, well, let's get ranked choice voting. Let's have actual democracy here. Let's create a strong civil society. Let's, universal health care. Let's have a Bill of Rights that just kicks every fucking Bill of Rights ass, with all the freedoms granted to every, the universal Declaration of Human Rights. Let's put every single one of those rights into this Constitution. Let's have 5 or 6 branches of government, an election branch, media branch, let's have several branches of government, and ranked choice voting with every elected position. Let's lean towards a pure direct democracy. Let's get a pure direct democracy, and I don't know, let's learn to love one another, and let's just be nice. Yeah, so anyways, city manager form of government forever, and fuck your strong mayor fucking bullshit. Get that shit out of here. Get a city, give me a charter government, or get that fucking strong mayor shit out of here. Get that strong mayor bullshit out of here. Give me a charter convention or get that strong mayor bullshit